All right, hello everyone. I'm here with Kim Kleeman and Norman Parrish from Report for America to talk about the new applications that have just opened to become a host newsroom. So with that, Kim and Norman, if you'd like to take it away, and also just so everyone knows, if you'd like to ask questions, please put them in the chat and we'll try to answer them.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us, INN. Norman and I will largely answer your questions, but maybe I can start off, Norman, and then you can continue. We are such a big organization now that we have two different screens. So Norman shows one and I chose the other. But so we just opened up the application period on Monday for host newsrooms or prospective host newsrooms to become part of Report for America. And here is the way that, that it has worked and will continue to work this year, certainly. We are looking for newsrooms that are needy. So, they basically need help in bringing in new reporters to tell good local news stories. We need these newsrooms to tell us what is, the biggest news hole you have out there, and what is the beat that you propose to fill that news hole. I should say that, if there are two other TV stations and another newsroom, that's hardly the case anywhere in this country anymore. But if there are others who are covering this topic, and it's just that your newsroom doesn't have an education reporter, but education gets covered pretty well in the community, that is often not enough of a news hole for us to provide you a reporter. So it has to be kind of a community news hole and real big coverage gap. We like to ask newsrooms for evidence that you're going to take seriously the charge of fundraising and finding local dollars to help support this core member. We've had so many newsrooms that they start out with a little trepidation. We've never done a lot of fundraising and we don't know how to do it. Our sustainability team will definitely help with that. But these newsrooms come back with so many wonderful stories about, wow, we got this kind of donation or that kind of donation because we asked in a way that was really effective. So you have to be willing to fundraise. Report for America doesn't stay in communities forever. We're there for 3 years maximum. And so we're really looking for communities with their fundraising prowess to be able to permanently kind of expand the newsroom and be able to take on these core members or others who can, continue to do great local news stories. So it's basically, showing us your need, your community need. It's committing to doing fundraising. I would say the third thing as well is we want to make sure that your newsroom is a great place to launch an emerging reporter. Report for America core members, their average age is 26 to 27. So unless they're college rock stars and have had great internships, and are on the daily paper at college, typically our core members have several years experience. You'll see on the application that we ask you, would you like a core member with even more experience, somebody with maybe 8 years or more? That is an option this year. It was last year as well. And that's for newsrooms that maybe need some editing help as well as reporting help. So anyway, you proved to us on your application that you're a perfect candidate for Report for America. Our application period is open July 12th through September 30th. In October and November, we take a hard look at all these applications. We grade them. We interview via Zoom the finalists. And then we make our picks for the newsrooms. The same day that we announce our newsroom, winners or those folks who are going to work with, we open up the application period to reporters and photographers, and basically our ultimate goal is to create slates for our host newsrooms, 3 to 5 candidates that fit your bill. So you tell us exactly who you need: somebody who is bilingual in Spanish or in Mandarin, somebody with data skills, somebody who grew up in the communities that you want them to cover, or are of the same race or ethnicities of the folks that you want them to cover. And we create these slates. It's important to know that with Report for America, the newsrooms have the final say. You pick the candidate you want. You, of course, pick the beat from the very beginning. And we are trying to serve your communities by serving you the best that we can. In terms of what else we do, so the first year with your core member, we pay half the salary. The second, it's up to $25,000 for emerging reporters, and that's those with fewer than 8 years experience. And we pay half the salary up to $30,000 for the more experienced core, those with 8 or more years of experience. And that's the first year, okay? We pay half the salary. The second year, we pay 33% of everyone's salary, and that has no cap. And the third year, we pay 20% of the journalist's salary, and that's also with no cap. We call ourselves a 2-year program with a 1-year check-in. The fact is, and an optional 3rd year. The fact is, we have year-to-year contracts, but we expect, and the vast majority of core members and newsrooms re-up for a 2nd year. Around 85% of our 2nd year newsrooms re-upped for a 3rd year for the core member. So, so we have a pretty good track record with that. Norman, I know I'm forgetting a lot. What do you want to add?
Well, you did a great job, and just to give the audience here a little bit of demographic information about where we're located, how many people we have. We're up to now nearly 300 journalists in 49 states, Washington, D.C., Guam, Puerto Rico, and roughly nearly half, maybe 47% of our core members are journalists of color. And so we have a big push for diversity. We believe that newsrooms should reflect America, and they also bring added expertise to your coverage. And also, most of the journalists also are female. And so just giving you a little background of some of the people that are part of the program and what we have attracted in the past. So that's kind of like a broad stroke there on our program. I guess we can open up for questions now.
Yeah, and there are a couple of good ones in the chat already. So one question, so how do core members apply? Many of them have heard about Report for America, or their friends are encouraging them to apply. So we got more than 1,800 applications last year for around 100 positions. But we strongly encourage newsrooms to be partners with us in recruiting core members. If you have somebody you worked with as a freelancer, just haven't had the money to bring them on full time, on your application, you can say, I'm going to ask this person to apply, and on their application, make sure you they indicate that I'd really like to go to your newsroom. You can be one of their references, and so if we see that, we kind of know that, oh, you want to be paired with them, they want to be paired with you, and they will be among your the slate that we give you. So for some newsrooms, we only want this person, and if they meet our standards, they've turned in a great application, they interview well with us, we will pair you, and that's the end of the deal. We don't want to put forward 4 other candidates in your slate that that have no chance of getting in your newsroom. These are such excellent candidates that we want everybody to have a real chance. So that's how that works. I realize this is really frustrating, my background. This is moving day at Report for America, and maybe I'll just take the screen down. It's disgusting. It's a bunch of boxes, but anyway, I hate for me to keep on coming in and out of frame, so maybe I'll just take my screen down. Anyway, And then one other question by a woman who said, listen, we thought we were doing fine. We were in the finalist stage and we just didn't get chosen. So we had close to a 40% increase in applications from Newsrooms last year. So if you were a finalist and didn't make it, or even if you didn't make finalist, it was just a numbers game last year. It was nothing inherent in, your bad application or anything like that. I will say that we've had some newsrooms that have applied and that, have indicated, we are in a very wealthy area and we have very highly educated people here. We have a great newsroom, but that's kind of our demographic situation. And, just given the need in our country, our question in a case like that would be, well, why can't you raise the money on your own? Why do you need Report for America to pay half? Because there are so many struggling newsrooms that just can't do that. So that would be one key to us that, do they really need Report for America to help with this situation? Let's see if are there any more in the chat here. Let's see, a question from the Current in Savannah, Georgia. As newsrooms, can we link our application to a journalist whom we've already identified in our community and with whom we would like to work but need funding? Yes, that's exactly the kind of recruiting we would like you to help us do. So you can say, hey, we've identified this person and we would love you to help. We will ask them to apply and we would love you to match us with them.
Yeah, and then simply when you apply, you just put their have them apply. You would be the reference, and maybe your number 2 editor or whatever might be the reference as well. And then, kind of say your preferred candidate. Then that kind of sends a message to us and to the judges who are reviewing the applications that this is someone that you want to work in your newsroom.
Yeah, and so this is a question from Teresa Martin. We have a freelancer this year on a certain topic. Would that be a good approach? Sure, you can somebody who has been a freelancer for you. You really like their work. Somebody who you have perhaps on part-time. What we can't do though is to convert somebody who is already on your staff as a full-time reporter or photographer and make them a core member. So we're trying to increase your capacity, your staff capacity, not just substitute, your existing staffer and make that person a core member. Let's see. So we have a question, they applied last year, didn't get funded without anything specific that was wrong. How can we make this year's application stronger and perhaps more likely to get funded? Again, we have way too many applications for the number of slots we're adding. I can promise you every year we're getting bigger and bigger. So this year we'll be at 400 or more core members. We're going to go up to about 300 newsrooms from about 210 newsrooms now. So it's just a matter of, every year. You do not get disqualified if you apply for 2 or even 3 years. And I hate this. It's like, it's nothing against you. It really isn't. But if you can make sure that you do a really good job in explaining the news hole and the beat that you propose to fill the news hole, you're an encouraging and supportive newsroom for emerging core members or even experienced core members. And that, look, we are so willing to fundraise. We've done this so far, or we can't wait to learn about this and that. That's a great start for you, definitely. Let's see. A lot of our core members are with the AP or other wire services. Is it required that a host newsroom have a physical newsroom in the location where you want a core member placed, or can they report to supervisors who are based in other locations? So especially for emerging reporters, we find that kind of the personal touch is really important. I mean, we dealt, as everybody did, through COVID. That was pretty hard for some of the reporters, especially those who were relatively new in newsrooms. We have had reporters who work remotely with some radio stations, let's say, and some others, but it's going to be really important if you are proposing this kind of a position, that you let us know exactly how you plan to make this reporter feel part of the whole, or what is your plan for having, in-person discussions, or to have them a part of staff meetings or something like that. Because remote work, there are some people who can definitely do that, and we have certain core members who are on our team right now who can, but that can be tough for some. So please be as specific as you can about your plan for making them feel part of your newsroom. Let's see. Is recruiting core members part of this opportunity? And how many newsrooms do we work with? So we currently work with around 210 newsrooms, and they support 300 reporters. So yes, we have some newsrooms with 4 and 5 core members. We've supported several startups in that capacity, and other newsrooms as well. So don't feel greedy by asking for 2 reporters or 3 reporters. We find that if they're part of a little hub, that helps in a lot of ways. And yes, when you become our host newsroom, we are kind of the matchmaker between you and folks we think will serve you well in the beat that you propose. So as I was saying before, as soon as we announce the host newsrooms, we open up an application process for prospective core members for Report for America. And I should say that most of them are reporters, but we are really trying to grow our photography team. So we now have 10 or 11 newsrooms that have photographers, and they're just doing an incredible job. So anyway, we evaluate all the applications from core members or prospective core members that come in, and we pair up, okay, this one needs a fluent Spanish speaker. This one wants a reporter who is a person of color to cover the burgeoning Latino community in our coverage area. We need somebody with good data reporting skills, because we want them to take state data and help us make stories. So we really, like, one newsroom 2 years ago asked for a reporter who is fluent in Mandarin and Spanish for a unique community they were trying to cover. And sure enough, there were several actually that applied. So that's pretty cool. You wouldn't believe the talent of a lot of these applicants. And then we give you a slate of 3 to 5, and then you interview them, you make the final selection, but they're kind of pre-screened by us.
Hey, Kim, they have a question here about, do you consider a joint application from 2 newsrooms? So which we do.
Yeah, why don't you say that, Norman? Yeah, we absolutely do.
Yeah, we do. We have for example, we have a African-American newspaper, the St. Louis American, and they've teamed with Type Investigations, and they have a joint they're sharing a journalist. The journalist is doing business reporting, more general business reporting for the St. Louis American, and then doing deeper investigations for both newsrooms where the specialized editing is coming from Type Investigation.
Yeah. We have somebody who asked a good question that, we say that, we are looking for kind of straight local journalism. So we will not partner with advocacy publications or journalists that want to do, only advocacy work. Or advocacy work at all, really. Where our niche is supporting local newsrooms that are doing straight up local news. It can be, let me say that the contest here is not for newsrooms to come up with like the most creative or outrageous beats that you think will really please us. We are here to serve you guys. So it does not have to be a sexy beat. I mean, it's, City Hall or this county commission we haven't covered in a really long time, or, some of the beats, they can be like, I would love to field a sports corps if that is needed out there, because I think sports, local sports, really brings people together no matter what their political persuasion. If you need an obituary writer, if you need a religion writer, if you want somebody to cover arts and culture, I mean, not a critic. We don't know how to train arts and culture critics, but just reporting on arts and culture news. And again, you know, environment, education, really whatever you need, but don't limit yourself. I mean, if you feel like, you know, this would be a great beat for us, you know, please put it down. And if you have any questions, and Norman and I will put our email addresses in the chat after this, just ask us, you know, send us an email. We're happy to answer. Question about what must be available: in-person space versus remote working. This is something that newsrooms are going to figure out, you know, 201. So how have you figured it out for your other staffers? So we just asked that this reporter be treated like any other one of your staffers. That includes like the benefits that you offer other staffers. You should offer this, your core member. You know, one question we often get is, well, do you pay part of benefits? No, we pay the straight half, a third, 20% of the straight salary. If you don't offer the rest of your staffers health insurance, we ask, I mean, it's part of your contract that you pay a $3,000 stipend on top of the salary so that your core member can buy insurance on the open market. But we don't pay for part of benefits. Let's see, can a national news organization apply with a reporter who will work in one particular local community? Does the organization need to cover a local community exclusively? I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about this. I mean, the news is for the local community. Right. So if you're a national organization and, you know, you have a ton of readers, you know, in this community, and this is the source of news for this community, yeah, I think you definitely could apply. If you are the Guardian or, you know, another national newsroom that is looking for, you know, your person in the Southeast region, and you would want a core member there, that would probably not be something that we would support, because that's not really going into local communities and, you know, giving folks their daily news. Is it possible to request more than one position if you've identified 2 or 3 community needs? Absolutely. So we would ask that you fill out one application though, and we have room for you to detail, you know, if the proposed beat for 1 core member, 2 core members, or 3 core members. And if you have any more than 3 on the application, we give you a place to write us and let us know, like, what do you have in mind? It's, you know, we don't routinely give a new newsroom that we're working with, sure, have 5 core members, or here's 6 core members. We usually start out with 1 or 2, and then, you know, you can work up. These applications are not one-time things, let me say. If you start out with 1 core member and it looks like you're supporting them well, you're doing a great job, you know, out there trying to fundraise, and you want to apply for another core member next year, absolutely, you can definitely do that. Do we consider a joint application from 2 newsrooms who share a memo of understanding? We love partnerships, so absolutely, you know, 2 newsrooms could share a reporter. And we currently have that situation now in several cases. How can a newsroom with 200 to 300 reporters be needy? Okay, so apologies if I didn't explain this correctly. We have 300 core members out in the world now, out in 49 states, Guam, and Puerto Rico. So that's our total number of core members. They are deployed in 210 different newsrooms around the country. So it's not like we give every newsroom that's applying 200 core members. I wish we could. That would be a great world, wouldn't it? But no, each newsroom has 1, 2. Our highest is 5 core members in a particular newsroom, but it's usually 1, sometimes 2. We are a small environmental media news site. Does our size matter? No, we support small newsrooms and relatively large newsrooms. You do need a readership, definitely. I mean, like if you have 25 people who are subscribers, but you're going to be growing, well, maybe catch us the next year or something. But you need we don't even have a number of readers, but it's okay if you're small. That's not a hindrance. Let's see. What if the RFA reporter is the first real staffer? Everyone else so far after 5 years is still considered a freelancer. We've had some situations like this, but you have to really prove that this person is going to get good editing, and there's definitely support for this person. And do you have a system where this person they are a staffer, right? They have to be a staffer. They can't be a contractor. That situation doesn't really work out with Report for America. So you have to have them on your payroll, and they have to be paid. And again, it sounds like, I don't know if you offer leadership health insurance, but you need to commit to making sure they're able to pay for health insurance. Let's see. For newer and smaller newsrooms, is there anything you're looking for on applications or would be helpful to demonstrate concerning sustainability, resources, etc.? It wouldn't hurt to let us know what you've done so far with sustainability efforts, or maybe what your plan is. It's really, frankly, at this beginning stage, an acknowledgement that absolutely we are trying to grow our donations and sustainability efforts. You don't have to do a lot of proving at this stage. There are some for-profit newsrooms that, look, we feel weird going out in the community and raising money when we're for-profit. In those cases, select cases, we ask the newsroom to do a comparable amount of marketing for us in terms of like putting ads for Report for America out there. So we do that, but you basically just have to show that, yeah, we really want to learn how to do more and better fundraising, and we're in it. If we make it to the second round but weren't selected, can we apply for the same beats as last year, or do we need to come up with new beats? You can come up with, they can be the same beats as last year. Norman has created a list of finalists from last year. We actually had a waiting list last year. We are going to personally reach out to everybody on that list to say, please apply again. And it can, in fact, be the same beat. Let's see. Do the funds raised for an RFA reporter need to be part of a new fundraising effort or a specific campaign around that RFA reporter? Can a newsroom use general operating funds from prior fundraising efforts to pay its half of the reporter's salary? I believe it's the latter, but I am going to ask our fundraising team. Mara, let me write that question down so that I can appropriately answer. But I believe, it can come from past fundraising efforts. Let's see. Okay, in our market, the daily newspaper, which generates about 20 million or so in revenue, is awarded a core member or two every year. How can that daily be classified as needing assistance versus local groups? So what we look at, Rick, is just basically, is the community being served? So you know, if this local daily has made a case that, look, we're not able to cover this beat, nobody in the community covers this beat, that kind of goes into our calculus of and how many people in this community you know, are not getting this information. That kind of goes into you know, what we decide. We have very few cases, to be honest, where it's like, wow, look at these 3 local newsrooms that are competing against the daily. Which one do we choose? I don't think we've ever had that situation, actually. So if you're in that community and want, you know, want a reporter for whatever, I mean, you know, please apply. We have several, you know, throughout the country. We have, you know, I mentioned these core members in hubs. Those hubs aren't necessarily in the same newsroom, but they are in the same city. So we like to group reporters, you know, together. The Chicago Sun-Times has 2 reporters. Block Club Chicago has 2 reporters. So we, you know, where these newsrooms make the case, this is really important beat. Nobody's covering it well. We need these reporters. That's ultimately what we look at.
And the other thing, Rick, is that a lot of newsrooms that may have 100 people or 200, they may have had just 5-10 years ago, maybe they had 300 people, maybe they had 400. So they've had massive downsizing, and then at the same time, they're tasked to cover a large geographical area. So I mean, that's kind of a, you know, that's kind of the situation for a lot of the newsrooms that apply to be in our program.
Yeah. Let's see. If we applied previously several times and didn't get accepted, is it possible to get feedback so we don't make the same mistakes again? Yeah, we're happy to talk with you, but just understand you probably didn't make mistakes. It's not like, oh, wow, you forgot to do this, or you didn't make a strong case here. It's really, we just, you know, we did not have the capacity to field every newsroom's dream, you know. Like I said, we're growing every year, and there's a question about that, which I'll get to in a second. But you know, too many applications for the resources we had to deploy reporters to everybody who wanted them. That's what it is. Let's see. We say we're growing from working with about 200 newsrooms now to about 300 next year. Does that mean 300 new newsrooms or 70 newsrooms? So it's a combination. So our program is 3 years. We have core members in year 1, year 2, and year 3 this year. We are going from a total of 300 core members this year to 400 core members, or maybe a little bit more next year. So our driver is the number of core members, and however many newsrooms that works out to. It's probably going to be about 300 newsrooms next year, but there are 100 new positions. And then there is, you know, then there's backfilling what will be about 75 to 100 positions that go out of the program because the core members have graduated, or they've gotten jobs, you know, someplace else, or that. So I'm thinking, you know, 100 new, maybe 75 or so backfilled. So it's a total of about 175. Let's see. Is a defined region a community? So we're pretty loose with the definition of community. I mean, you know, your coverage area is what I would say. Let's see. Any other questions? Norman, any other questions you get at all the one-on-ones that you do? Norman, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. No, this was a pretty good group. They asked a lot of the questions that we feel, but that were asked today. But just to be clear, we have like 2 strong recruitment periods. One is now. This is where we're asking the newsrooms to make a pitch, tell us what's important to them in their communities, and then we sit down and we look at, your requests, and we have great judges, and we fight for you. I mean, I fight for a lot of the newsrooms. I lose a lot. If I can get one out of 50 that I want, I pat myself on the back. But and it's really competitive. It's highly competitive. I think we had 100 newsrooms last year that made pitches, and we didn't even interview them. So it's really highly competitive. And then at the next round, then we decide looking at those requests, they become openings, and we post those job openings in December and January. And as Kim mentioned earlier, it's highly competitive. We had 1,800 people apply for 120 some odd slots. And so it's really a competitive program. Everything is driven by what you, the newsrooms, want. This is not us. Once they get into your newsroom, they're your babies. We don't dictate news coverage. Someone was talking about, can a advocacy journalism group join a program and such. It's totally your call. We provide training. We provide support. We provide support as far as helping you come up with raising funds and such. But as far as the news day-to-day shots that are being called in those newsrooms, that's you. You're the newsroom. You're making those calls. So I mean, I really appreciate you all participating in this, and you all have asked a lot of great questions. And I'm glad Kim took time to talk to us. I know she's really busy this time of year, so I really appreciate it. And if there's anything else, you can fire away. Meryl, is there anything you want to add?
I don't think so. I was just going to pop the link again in from the website. So if you haven't seen that yet.
And I also, during the discussion, you all probably saw it in the chat, I put my email address in there, and also I put Kim's in there as well. So you all saw the emails floating. So
yeah, we are totally happy to take questions. Just to underscore one thing that's really important that folks know, especially if you are in kind of an out of the way place, we're really trying to focus on partnering with newsrooms that cover rural areas. We really want to get better at that. Or, other, small newsrooms, if you're in a place that, many young journalists might not know about, we are asking that we are equal partners in recruiting. Really important for you to give us, what are local colleges that have been, where you have successfully found good reporters? Who are local freelancers in your area that you would want to work with on a full-time basis? I mean, again, one of the things I love about Report for America is you take, eager, smart, reporters with not a whole bunch of experience, and they go to these newsrooms and states and geographies that maybe they have passing experience with, and they love it, and they're learning new things, and they're just growing so much because they're in new environments. So you always have a lot of people like that, but there are some places where it's hugely helpful for you guys to tell us, where we should go and what colleges we need to go to, what alumni groups of colleges you've had success in, because it's our mission to get you exactly who you need to fill these beats, and that's really helpful for us. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, we'll sign off. Please email Norman or me. We are happy to talk. Much as with our prospective core members, I think 90% of whom apply on the last day. A little bit better with the editors in newsrooms, but it's kind of slow around here in the summer until September, when things heat up and we start getting a lot of applications. So now is a really good time for you to reach out to Norman or me. We have time to talk about the details of the applications. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim and Norman, and thank you everyone who joined. We'll be processing the recording and sharing it with you after this. Have a good one, everyone.